Yo, what's going on, guys? Really cloudy day here in the Florida Keys today, and the summer is winding down. Just the last couple weeks left here, and just trying to make the best of it. Doing some fixes around the house, and trying to squeeze in as much fun as we can have here right before everything ends, at least temporarily, of course. But today, what we're going to talk about is, of course, the overall market and what's going on and what's to come. What do I think is happening? And it is a little bit cloudy up here, a little bit stormy, and there's some storms out in the Caribbean, some storms that are looking like they might turn into tropical depressions, tropical storms, stuff like that. And I gotta say, I think there's a little bit of a storm brewing here in the overall market. And I think personally, depending on a few factors that we're going to go over in this video, I think it might not be too bad, So we're going to talk about levels on the SPY that I'm eyeing. We're going to talk about stocks that I'm eyeing to buy for long-term and maybe active swing trades going into the end of the year. And we're going to talk about the catalysts that could be moving this market, like inflation, the Fed, rate hikes, etc. All right, we're going to be talking about all these things in this video. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. The very first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, the levels on the SPY. I'm looking at 400 today in pre-market. We went over in the DTC, the $400 level, looking to hold support there. We could get down into the 395 level this week, I think. And I think, right, I think the lowest we can probably go throughout September, October, maybe about 390. If we go any lower than that, it'd be awesome. We'll grab it. But I think that 390 would probably be some of the lowest that we'll see September, October in, as far as the SPY goes. And why is that? Well, inflation has apparently peaked. In the summer it peaked, and that was a max we saw. And maybe that'll allow the Fed to slow its rate hike some. Albeit, though, Jerome said on Friday at Jackson Hole that they're still going to be fighting inflation with their rate hikes because they want to get inflation down. But there are things they cannot control, right? They are things that cannot control, kind of like commodities. They can't control the prices on that. There's no way. They have no control over oil, right? Stuff like that. So moving forward, let's say we're in September. Well, we're in August now. In September, when we get our August readings on CPI, PPI data, if they are lower than July, I think the market kind of bases out. I think it bases out. You get a nice little strong bounce off of that level, and it bases out. And at that point, I think we start to see maybe a little bit of a possible turnaround in the market, okay? So that's what I'm thinking here as far as September goes. But the essential part of that is going to be that inflation shows that it was lower than it was in July. So that August went lower, right? So we peak in June. July, we drop a good amount. August, we drop another chunk. If we do that, okay, and in September, we get that August reading, that's going to be a great sign, okay? We might see the Fed still be a little bit aggressive in September. They might still be a little bit aggressive, meaning they might still do 50 basis points or maybe even 75 basis points. But, I think 50 is more realistic. But then, here's going to be the kicker. When we go into October, in October, if those numbers for September for CPI and PPI come in lower than they were in August, then I think in October the Fed could really take their foot off the pedal and come in with 25 basis points to go into the year lower. Instead of doing 50 basis points or 75, they'll come in at 25, and then maybe we get a really nice Santa Claus rally going into the end of the year. And then next year, when we kick off the year, we might even see the Fed take a pause on rate hike. Be like, no rate hike. We could see that very well happen. Okay, so that's my forecast. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm looking for. Now, if inflation didn't peak, okay, if for any reason August numbers, when they come out in September, are higher, well, that's going to throw this entire plan out the window, and we'll have to come up with a new plan, okay? But if inflation did in fact peak, and I think it did, because while prices are still high on a lot of things, I am seeing people looking at things around me at the store, online, on their computers, being like, oh, this lowered in price. Even I've seen some stuff that's lowered in price. Like, oh, this lowered price, this is lower. Oh, wow, look at these specials. And we're starting to see that type of effect happen, and I think that's a telltale sign of possible inflation having peaked. And we're starting to see that, along with, of course, I know, we have recessionary fears. So stores and businesses are trying to get product out of the door so that they're not exposed to too hard. All right. Now, We've already gone over, right, what inflation could be, what the Fed might do. So how am I going to be attacking this? Well, I'm going to be attacking this from two different ways. The first way I'm going to attack this would be with my long-term ads. All right, I'll be looking to do my long-term ads on VOO, on Amazon, on Google, on Tesla, on SoFi. I'm going to be looking to do some of those on Disney. I'm going to be doing some of those long-term ads when and if we get the SPY down into those 395, 390s. And if we get into the 380s, I'm definitely going to grab a good chunkaroo there. I've already put half of my extra capital to work, so I still have 50% in my hand that I'm waiting to put out there on this pullback if we get it. The other thing that I'm going to be doing, okay, if inflation has in fact peaked, is I'm going to be looking for an active swing trade going into the last couple months of the year, okay? Going into November, December. I might enter that swing trade in a scaling fashion. Maybe I'll enter some in September, I'll enter some in October, and then I'll be looking to take profits off in November, December. Now, what swing trade is that? Well, it's going to be based off of the overall market. So what I'm going to be looking at is going to be stocks that are affected mostly by the overall market, right? Like Amazon, like Apple, right? That's what I'm going to be looking at, those types of juggernauts. Why? Because I want my money to be safe in it, all right? I want my money to be safe in it. So I'm going to be looking at that. Possibly, let's say if it's Amazon, I'll be looking at the mid to low 120s. If I can get the mid to low 120s on Amazon, I might start scooping up there and holding on to some, looking to see if in November and December we get that Santa Claus rally, the SPY pushes up towards 430s, and we can get Amazon to go from the 120s right back up towards those 140s. Bang, big time profit right there. So that's exactly what I'm going to be looking at. Maybe Amazon, maybe Apple, maybe Tesla. It just depends on what stock. Tesla just did that 3-for-1 split, so you can scoop up some shares a lot cheaper now than prior when it was an $800 stock. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. Those are my plans moving forward here on the remainder of the year, okay? Now, I'm also going to be working on stuff for the DTC. Like in October, I'm going to be starting to shoot the add-on to the advanced courses that are going to come out in January. So make sure you check out the daytraderchatroom.com. Guys, let me know what your plans are going into this latter half, and also what you think, what your forecast is. What is it that you're thinking? Where do you think you're going to see the SPY? Where do you think you're going to see Amazon? Where do you think you're going to see Apple? Right? Where do you think you're going to see all these names? I'm thinking we go higher into the end of the year if inflation has in fact peaked. If it hasn't peaked, then if it didn't peak and it's not going insane, I think we just get a choppy end of the year. Anyways, those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know yours. Drop them in the comment section below. Help me out by smashing that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one.